We gonna start this thing off right.
Let's get it.
G Sports, Heisman Trophy, college football. The opener is right around the corner, baby. College football is about to be underway. Who you think is your preseason Heisman Trophy candidate? Who's your Heisman hopeful into the season? Let's see what Mr. Nostradamus has to say regarding the subject.
There you go. Now you addressing me correctly on FanView now. Nostradamus.
We gonna see.
I think when the season started in September, I think I might start coming on here with a cape. I've been saying I was gonna start winning, but I think it's time because I just been looking like Nostradamus every time I give a prediction.
I mean, if you believe you Shazam, I mean, you ain't Superman or Batman. You may be Shazam.
Just saying.
I'm Marvel, baby. I'm off of Iron Man and Captain America. They don't wear capes. They just a little more accurate. They spice things up. Just saying.
Nah, but the Heisman favorites coming into the season, man. I know it doesn't make you an expert to state the obvious. C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young, who was the returning Heisman Trophy winner from last year. Those two guys are probably going to be the headliners when you talk about who you think will be up there in New York to hold that trophy.
Agreed.
C.J. Stroud from Ohio State, 14 tutties last year. Only 6 interceptions. And, I know he lost Chris Olave and Wilson. But, he got Jackson Smith, Nigba coming back.
Yep.
Julian Fleming. They just reload over there in Ohio State. So it wouldn't surprise me at all to see him back as one of the top players in the country and as a Heisman finalist.
Right.
Bryce Young. Won the Heisman last year with good reason. 47 tutties, 7 interceptions. Yeah, he lost a whole bunch of production, 2 out of the receiver room. But
Jameson Williamson.
Yeah.
And Munchie.
And Meachie and all those guys. But you got Jermaine Burton that transferred from Georgia.
Yep.
Tyler Harrell that came from Louisville. Those 2 guys are studs in the making. And then you got some of those other guys that's on the roster like Aaron Anderson from Edna Carter, the freshman receiver who Nick Saban has compared to Jalen Waddle.
Yeah.
So I think, Bryce Young is still going to have a lot of weapons at his disposal to be able to put up the numbers.
And maybe Shaz plays a little bit too.
We'll see.
Out of St. James.
Yeah. Kendrick Law out of Captain Shreveport. So we'll see. So those 2 guys are the headliners. But it's 2 guys that I think that have a real good chance to win the Heisman. KJ Jefferson from Arkansas. This is one of my favorite players to watch last year. Yeah, man. He a dual threat quarterback.
Yes.
Had the Arkansas Razorback as a top 25 team all year.
Yep.
They had that big win against A&M to start the year off down there in Dallas at Jerry's World. And I think that kind of put him on the map.
It has.
Yeah.
Even though Traylon Burks took a lot of shadow, but he was on.
Yeah,
he was on.
KJ Jefferson was definitely one of my favorite players to watch last year, and for him coming back with a lot of confidence, and I think that for him to win the Heisman or have a chance to win the Heisman, he's going to have to upset Alabama or one of those top teams in the SEC.
Agreed.
To have a chance to win his Heisman, he's going to have a Heisman moment. Maybe it's against LSU. Maybe it's against Bama, in which he plays both of them in the latter part of the season. And I tell people all the time, you want to start hitting your stride if you're trying to win the Heisman in the middle to the end of the season.
October, November.
Yeah. So I think KJ Jefferson.
Because you don't want to have that moment too early in the season. Then after that, when you start hitting your conference, you start to fiddle out, and it's like, well, hold on.
Yeah.
Somebody else is going to have a moment.
Yeah, Kendall Browse has done a great job grooming KJ Jefferson. He's the OC for Arkansas. So I would love to see KJ Jefferson up there in New York having a chance to hold that Heisman Trophy up at the end of the season. My second one that I think has a real chance to win it, and you don't really see too many defensive players. Will Anderson from Alabama. Bro, dude had 17 and a half sacks last year and 34 TFLs. Listen, they have guys that get drafted in the first round that played 3 years and don't have that kind of production. Correct. So I think Will Anderson is about to have an excellent year, a stellar year, a phenomenal year. Whatever words you want to give him, he's going to have that kind of year. He's unblockable. Nick Saban talked about in fall camp, they didn't have a single soul on the offensive line that could block him. So if you don't have anybody on Alabama offensive line that could block him, can you imagine the rest of the teams around?
Barbecue chicken.
It's going to be mouse in the house. You could believe that. And I think Will Anderson has a chance to be a finalist in New York. Aiden Hutchinson did it.
Yep.
He had his Heisman moment against Ohio State last year. I think Will Anderson will have that same opportunity this year. 34 and a half TFLs.
Listen, dog.
Not only is he and do not get it twisted. He is not just a pass rusher.
No.
This guy can stop the run. He can set the edge. He can roam on. He is the all-around defensive player that you want on your team. He can run. He's an old school linebacker. He ain't worrying about NIL. He ain't worrying about none of that. He just worrying about playing football.
And here's the thing with Will Anderson. Will Anderson does not get the credit, or he has not gotten the popularity of the previous Alabama running backs. We talking about guys like Reuben Foster, who came through there. Guys like Rolando McClain, who was a big-time linebacker for them. I mean, we talking about Hightower, Upshaw, when they both were there.
Yep.
We talking about some guys that came out of
Quentin
Williams. Just the linebacker coach. Will Anderson has really put a staple on him as a linebacker for that Alabama program, especially last season, man. And trust me, he's definitely up for that Heisman Trophy. He doesn't have the popularity that we think of an Alabama linebacker, but listen, this guy is like that.
And I think when you add somebody like Elias Ricks, who transferred from LSU to Alabama, that can shut down one side of the field, that's only going to make that Alabama defense more stout.
Correct.
So now you're giving him a chance to get to the passer even faster. I think Will Anderson's going to have a shot, and I would not be surprised if he's a finalist. Now, will he win it?
That's hard to do for the defensive player.
It is hard to do with a defensive player.
player.
Charles Woodson is the only one to be able to pull that off in the history of the game, and I think more so was because he ran punts back, ran kickoff returns back.
He had some offensive plays.
He had some offensive plays where he scored touchdowns, and he did it on the biggest stage against Ohio State. Ran a punt back, caught an interception, and caught a touchdown pass. You know, Will Anderson don't play both sides of the ball, but I think he should definitely be.
And when he put that rose in his mouth, it was said and done.
Yeah,
it was over.
I think Will Anderson should definitely be, one of the guys we talking about as a Heisman finalist. But if I had to pick out of the four guys I named, I'm gonna go with KJ Jefferson, man. That's my sleeper. Out of these Heisman picks, man, I just think he's gonna have a great year and solidify himself as a first round pick.
All four guys you named are part of my list. I'm gonna just add one too because I have no disagreement with that list whatsoever. The only guy I'm gonna add to that list, and I think that he's gonna have a lightning bolt of a year, is Caleb Williams, the transfer from Oklahoma who goes now to Southern California, follows Lincoln Riley. To me, he's your best dual threat college football quarterback in college football. Being in the Lincoln Riley and his RPO scheme, when you look at what he can get done and what Lincoln Riley is going to try to do with him this upcoming year, I think it's going to be a very hot. I think it's what USC needs. I think it's what he wants to play at one of these biggest states. Not that Oklahoma is not, but it's not Southern California. Let's not be crazy. When USC is on and popping, it's on and popping. It's great for college football. It is great for the Pac-12. It's great for all things college football related when USC is a dominant premier program. And I see Caleb Williams having one of those dual threat years at quarterback at USC under Lincoln Riley, even their first year, because the Pac-12 is not as defensive oriented, even like the Big 12. The Pac-12 is really it lacks defense in terms of when you start looking at Oregon State, you start looking at Washington, you start looking at Utah may play some defense, but when you get down to the Arizonas and Arizona States, listen, it's not defenses studied. And so what Caleb Williams can do, he can have that Heisman moment in that Pac-12 against an Oregon State, against an Oregon, against a UCLA. That game can happen for him. And so to me, Caleb Williams is the guy I would add to that mix. And that would be the only guy outside of me, I think possibly Bryce Young or the quarterback out of Arkansas who could really win this award. So the only guy I'm going to add to that list that you had, because I disagree with none of the names, is Caleb Williams. But this is what I will add to it. If Will Anderson, this college football season, gets near 20 sacks, if that's possible, G Sports.
And it's possible.
If that possible and that happens, there's no disrespect to none of the quarterbacks. It's about time a defensive player wins the award. And if he can do that, being in the SEC, and he could have that kind of performance, I'm sorry to tell anybody, he needs to win the award. It's overdue for a defensive player winning the award. And if that guy could come out here and show that this year, I have no problem with Will Anderson saying, listen, get my vote. I don't care what Bryce Young does. I don't care what Caleb Williams does. I don't care what C.J. Stroud does. If that kid goes out here and gets near 20 sacks, possibly 20 sacks, give him the award. Period.
I'm curious to see how Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley will do in year one. At USC in the Pac-12, because like you say, they don't play defense in the Pac-12 just like they didn't play defense
in the Big 12.
In the Big 12. And Caleb Williams did a great job coming in for what was the kid that was starting?
Spencer Rattler.
Spencer Rattler.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams came in looking like a veteran. So,
yeah,
I'm curious. That's a good sleeper pick to see how that's going to unfold down there in Pasadena with Caleb Williams. I'm curious to see how that's going to look.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what Spencer Rattler do, but I know one thing. I'm not
South
betting
Carolina?
Yeah, South Carolina. I'm not betting on him. I just think that his situation to be in that South Carolina does not. I don't know what targets he's throwing the ball to. So that's just, I'm not picking him. But to me, outside of the four you have, I'm adding Caleb Williams to that group, and that's pretty much about it.